Okay, I'm going now. Hey guys, Dr. Berry here. I'm going to be joined by the real Carrie Brown, and we're going to be talking about how to find your keto as you go along this journey with us. Let me find Carrie Brown. Hey Jessica, hey Amy, hey Susan. Where is that Carrie Brown? Hey Amanda, hey Norman, Emily. Thanks guys for joining us. Oh, Nisha Berry. Debbie. While we're waiting for Carrie Brown to join us, did you guys see Nisha's new blog post today? It's pretty nice. Check it out. Nisha loves it. I think now if you Google Nisha loves it, like it pops up #1, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think it does. Where is Carrie Brown? Did you message her?
Yeah.
Okay. She should be here any moment, guys. If you haven't checked out Carrie Brown's cookbooks, you definitely need to. She has, 6 cookbooks? From drinks to ice cream to other assorted tasties. Hello, Carrie Brown. Calling Carrie Brown. Comment when you get on, Carrie, and I'll add you. Oh, hey, Pamela. Good. I'll see you in the clinic. Hey, Donna. Hey, Jennifer. Has anybody seen Carrie Brown? Hey, there's Jared. Lisa.
Says she's coming.
Okay, she'll be here momentarily. She is about to join us. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Susie. Hey, Bree. Thanks for sharing. Hey, Diane. If you guys, as always, you can share this in your keto group or your low carb group because we want to help as many people as we can. If you do share this, please type shared in the comments so we can thank you. Come back here, Carrie Brown. Come back here. No. No. I see, I got Carrie right here, but I can't get her to add. Carrie, I don't know. It's not giving. Oh, there you are. Yep, I got you. About finding your keto while we are all keto snowflakes. There she is.
Hey.
Hey, friend, how you doing?
Good.
You look great. Hey, do you feel better?
Actually today is, hang on while I get my tripod's being a bit icky. Generally, yes, but today I'm actually having a really bad day. So.
Oh, no. Well, you cleaned up very nicely. You look great. It's good to see you again. We've missed you.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't slept for a week, so.
Yeah, I hear you.
So just like my homotoxicologist tells me that when you're killing things 24/7, it's understandable that you'd feel tired.
Absolutely.
And I guess that makes sense.
It does. I agree. So what are we talking about this evening, Carrie Brown?
Well, this evening we're going to talk about, we're going to let people figure out whether they're a special snowflake or not.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. And so just to be clear, calling you a special snowflake is not being derogatory in any way. Some of us deserve and need a different style of keto than others. Some people can come to keto and just live on cheese and bacon and heavy cream and do fine and lose weight and reach their goals. And others of us cannot do that. We have to personalize our ketogenic way of eating and tweak and experiment until we find, oh, thank you, Paula, for sharing until we find our personal keto. How's that sound for a topic?
So yeah, and for some reason I can't see any comments, and hang on, swipe left. So
yeah, swipe left. You've got it on the quiet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, the whole point is that you're all special snowflakes. And Dr. Berry's a special snowflake, and I'm a special snowflake.
Yes,
and,
I'm a very special. Very special.
And I know that the term special snowflake can be derogatory, and I chose that deliberately because, you know, I wanted you all to pay attention. But from a keto perspective, regardless of the other meaning of special snowflake, we are all special snowflakes. And
yes.
And I wanted to talk about it because in the various groups, and I'm sure Dr. Berry, you have this same thing too, and we do in the big groups that I participate in, is that there's always these, like, you know, I lost 100 pounds, and then there's like, how did you do it? And then there's like, oh, what macros do you use? And you know, questions like that, and you know, what do you eat? I want to eat what you eat, and so on and so forth. And I think, and I understand why people do that, especially when they're starting out.
Yes.
But I think it's really important for everybody to realize that none of us are the same. No
That's
two
right.
people are the same. and the variables within us are so diverse. Like, are you a male or are you a female? How old are you? What's your genetic makeup? Do you have any weird wrinkles? Like, you'll know about mine, but you know, do you have any weird genetic wrinkles? Have you had vaccines? What childhood diseases did you have? Have you yo-yo dieted? And if so, how many times? All of these things are going to play into how keto is going to work for you, and what specific things you need or don't need to get the results you want or need.
Yes, exactly.
Am I right, Dr. Berry?
Totally.
Did I just make that all up?
No, I totally agree. And I think it is beneficial to ask other people about how they keto. What do you do? What do you eat? Because often within that, you'll find a new idea, like, oh, I didn't think about that. Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. I'll try that. Or they'll say, oh gosh, are you eating that? I didn't do good until I stopped eating that. Then I did better. And so then you can try that. And so I think communication is absolutely vital to discovering which kind of snowflake you are. And so, right. I love, that's why one of the reasons I love the Facebook group so much is that we can bounce ideas off each other. We can say, oh, that didn't work for me, but this did. And that doesn't mean it's going to work for you, because you are your own unique snowflake, but it does give you ideas. And that idea might not be the one that's for you, but it might be the seed of another idea that finally breaks your stall or decreases your inflammation to the next level, or whatever your personal goal is.
So I think a lot of times, and I see in the groups, or I get messages saying, you know, I'm doing it all right, but I'm not getting the results. And so I think our big point here is there is no one right way.
Yes.
So if you're, and so the point of this was to help you stop being frustrated.
Yep.
Because you think you're doing it all the right way, but that might be someone else's right way, but not yours. And so if you're doing it your right way, you will get the results.
Right.
So if you're not getting the results, there's something that's unique to you, or you're following someone else's plan, or someone else's macros, or someone else's results. And that's a good place to start. But when you get to that place where you're no longer feeling like you're getting the results that you should, or you've stalled or something, then you need to understand that you are unique. And, you know, maybe somebody else fixed their stall by stopping dairy. That doesn't mean that your stall is going to stop by stopping dairy. or nuts or whatever it may be. And so I really want to help people stop getting frustrated because they're not getting their results, or actually even stop quitting because they think, I'm doing it all right, but I'm not getting the results, so therefore it doesn't work. When actually what you're doing is you've taken something that's worked for someone else and you're following that. But there might be something about you, something special and quirky about you, or your history, or your genes, or something that means that the journey that person took is never going to get you to the same place that it took them.
Exactly right. I totally agree. And if you can feel what Carrie's saying, hit that heart button. Let me see some hearts. If you have felt that, where you've tried somebody else's macros and it didn't help you, or you tried somebody else's hack or tweet or tweak, and it's just like, nope, that's not what my body wants. Because that's what you're ultimately looking for, is what does your body want? What does your body need? How are you unique? And so for Carrie, it's her MTHFR, it's her her past history, it's her mental stuff, and she has to cater to those things, or she's not going to get the benefits that she wants. For me, it's my insulin sensitivity, it's my proclivity to gain weight if I even look at a carb. It's my blood sugar, my insulin's going to spike if I even look at a carb. And so while Nisha's over here, and she's definitely a special little snowflake, while she's over here eating her greens and her broccoli and her Brussels sprouts, and I'm over here like, yeah, I'm just going to have a steak, because if I eat that, it's gonna slow me down, and I'm not going to get to my goals as fast. And so that's one of the reasons I posted on my Instagram story, or my page a few weeks back, Carrie, which keto is yours, right? Are you a veg heavy? Are you meat heavy? Are you a vegetarian keto? Are you a carnivore? Because all of those are rational, logical choices for some people. And so if you're not a carnivore, then you definitely shouldn't do carnivore. It's not going to help you. You're not going to feel good. You're not going to enjoy it. And so you've got to find your keto, and that's what we're talking about this evening.
But I really want people to stop thinking that they have somehow failed if carnivore doesn't work for them. There's lots of people out there, and carnivore is a big thing right now. And for some people, it is the best thing ever.
Yep.
They feel fantastic. They lose the extra weight. It's all good. But it's not your fault. If you try carnivore and it doesn't work for you, you haven't failed. You haven't done it wrong. It's just that it's not the thing that your body thrives best on. So I want you all to stop feeling failed if carnivore doesn't work for you, or if eating more veg is what makes you feel best and gets you the results you want within the boundaries of keto, then you win.
Yep, exactly right.
And we need to try and stop these factions of keto, like fighting with each other, like it's carnivore or nothing, or you have to eat vegetables. No, you have to find out what works best for your situation, your body, your makeup. And stop feeling failed if what someone else is doing doesn't work for you. And I think Nisha is a great example, because you and Nisha did the carnivore challenge, and for you it was fantastic, and for Nisha. But the brilliant thing about what Nisha did was, I don't remember what day it was, but part of the way in, she went, you know what, this is not working for me. But the key thing is, she stopped. She didn't go, wow, I must be doing it wrong, or wow, my macros, my fat to protein must be off, or wow, I'm really failing at this. She went, oh, I don't feel good. This isn't working for me, so I'm going to stop. She didn't keep on doing something just because she's been, almost sucked into thinking that this is the only way, and that if she gives up, she's failed, or if it doesn't work, then she's doing it wrong. She just went, no, this is not for me. And so I'm going to carry on tweaking until I find out what does work for me. And apparently it's Brussels sprouts, because she's over there eating them. I don't ever want anyone to feel, and I think it was called the carnivore challenge. don't keep going with a challenge if it's not working, if it's not helping.
Yeah, and we actually talked about that, Carrie, and we regretted calling it the Carnivore Challenge after we got started. We regretted that, and we wish we had called it the Carnivore Experiment, because the challenge implies you fail the challenge, and that's not what we were trying to imply at all.
Oh, I wasn't talking about your particular thing.
But
I was talking about, globally.
But I'm just saying that we talked about that. It's like, yeah, that was a poor choice of words, because if you fail a challenge, then you fail the challenge, and that's not what this was all about. We wanted people to try carnivore as an experiment, and if it worked, hallelujah. If it didn't work, then that's fine. You tried that. You can mark that off the list and try the next thing until you figure out which keto is yours.
I'm sure you see this too. One of the things that really gets me riled up is sweeteners, is the alternative sweeteners, and when people say, they make statements like xylitol spikes your insulin or your blood sugar, or erythritol this, or these finite statements that are simply not true. Xylitol spikes insulin and blood sugar for some people. For other people, like me, it does absolutely nothing. And so and this is for a lot of things. Sweeteners is just my little thing. But I really want to encourage you all to stop listening to blanket statements that say, xylitol spikes everybody's blood sugar, or whatever, sausages will cause you to go into gluconeogenesis, or whatever. These blanket statements, simply, if anyone's yelling that X does this globally, you probably want to not pay so much attention to them, because they're not taking into account that everybody responds differently. I mean, there are some things like sugar and the starches that we know have not the same effect, but they do all have an insulin raising and a blood sugar raising effect. And of course, for keto, everybody should be off all of those things. But within the bounds of keto, if anyone's telling you that everybody responds in this way to this food stuff, you might want to go listen to somebody else.
Totally agree. Yeah. And there are people in pretty large groups who are like, this is how you should keto. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you feel. If you stick with what I say for long enough, you will get results. And I just don't think that's a viable or a valuable paradigm, because we're all different. We're all from different parts of the world. Our ancestors lived here. Your ancestors lived there. My ancestors never saw the equator. Nisha's ancestors lived at the equator for centuries and centuries, right? And so obviously we're probably going to need a different style of keto because of our eons and eons of DNA that have come through the thousands of years. That's going to make us have a different keto. I think your gut bacteria probably plays a small or a large part in which kind of keto works best for you. I think that if you're very insulin resistant versus not, I think that matters. If you're very obese versus you're not very obese, if you got 10 pounds to lose, you're probably not going to do the same keto as somebody who weighs 410, right? And so all of these things matter. What medications you're on can actually tweak your keto this way or that way. Yeah, absolutely.
I forgot that medications, well, you know this better than anybody, Dr. Berry, is that medications can really make things crazy.
Yeah, we're in this together, guys. That's the whole point, is this is a journey that we're all taking together. And it's almost like it's really weird, but it's like we're all trying to get back to the promised land, because the stupid nutrition and dietary advice of the last 50 years have got us lost in the wilderness. And we literally had forgotten how the hell human beings were supposed to eat, right? And so we're all basically rediscovering real human food and the benefits that come with eating it. And so that's what we're talking about, is you obviously you didn't want to blindly follow Ansel Keys and all of his dietary advice, because that led to disease, obesity, and increased heart attacks, increased diabetes. But in the same vein, you also don't want to blindly listen to some keto guru who says it's this way or the highway. You do it this one way and buy all of my supplements, or you're not keto. And that's ridiculous, That's part of the old problem. That's part of the old paradigm, the old way of thinking. We got to all stop thinking that way and stop judging everybody else. We're all in this together. We're all walking down the same road together, and we're figuring it out as we go.
And you've just reminded me of another thing that I completely forgot, is supplements. There is no right answer to what supplements do I need.
Yep.
But it may be, except when it comes to electrolytes, but even then, how many electrolytes I need to stay in balance for my body and what Dr. Berry needs in terms of amount are gonna be different. But we probably all do need electrolytes just because of the way our bodies function differently when we're running on ketos versus sugars. So but outside of that, I mean, I need, most of you who know me know, I have to supplement with methylated B vitamins because I can't process regular B vitamins. So I absolutely have to have them. Do I therefore think that everybody on earth who's doing keto needs methylated B vitamins? Absolutely not. And am I going to tell people, oh, you need these because this is what works for me? No, that's ridiculous. And so there's no supplement. And I actually recorded a podcast with the awesome Ali Miller today for the Keto Evangelist Kitchen podcast. And she agreed with me. There is no, like, outside of electrolytes, there's no one supplement that everybody needs on keto. And so again, anyone that's saying to you, well, you need to supplement with this, and this, run away.
Yeah, I totally agree.
You're different to them. And what works for you and what needs you have is going to vary dramatically from person to person. So if anybody's giving you blanket advice about anything, go listen to Dr. Berry instead.
Thank you, Carrie. And I totally agree. And let's talk about electrolytes. I don't consider electrolytes a supplement, okay?
Right.
I don't consider them a supplement. I consider them part of our normal diet. Now, you have to think about the water that we drink versus the water that our ancestors used to drink, right? When you drink water out of groundwater or out of a stream or out of a river, that water has run over so many millions of rocks and pebbles and gravel and dirt and grass. It's full of bacteria, and don't be going out and drinking the river water, trust, because our guts are not prepared for that, because we are special snowflakes who have been indoors too long. We can't go drink mud puddle water like the dog does. But that water is so much richer in electrolytes because it's ran over all the rocks and gravels and the mud and the grass, and it's come from the mountains down to the river. It's full of minerals. It's full of electrolytes. And so our ancestors when they took a drink of water, they got all the electrolytes they need plus in their food. But our water really has just hydrogen and oxygen. And if you're unlucky, fluoride and chlorine. But those are not things that you actually need. Those are just things that we put in there to try to protect you from things. Whether it works or not, it's still up for debate. But electrolytes are part of your diet, and we can't get them from our water unless you're drinking some kind of mountain spring water that's been unprocessed. So we have to add some electrolytes. And a lot of people, that weirds them out, like, well, if we're eating the best diet in the world, why do I have to add magnesium and potassium? And that's why, because our ancestors got that from the water, just because the water they drink was so nutrient rich. It's also rich with bacteria and protozoa and virus and fungi and everything else, but their guts were used to it because they drink it every day. We're not used to it, so don't be drinking mud puddle water. But that's why we have to supplement with electrolytes, even though electrolytes are not supplements. And I saw a question, Carrie, about what do we think about keto products? And I think I know my opinion, and I think you agree. You don't need to buy a single keto product to do keto properly.
Right.
You don't need a keto powder. You don't need a keto drink. You don't need a keto bar. You don't need to spend 1 penny on any of that stuff. Okay.
That's not to say that, you know, if you use them, that's wrong. We're just saying that you can totally do it without them.
That's right. If you want to use them, that's fine, but they're not necessary. Just like exogenous ketones, I don't think they're necessary for anybody to do a proper ketogenic way of eating. But if you want to try them, if you want to use them, I don't think that's bad or wrong. I just don't think it's necessary. But hey, give it a try.
So Cindy asked, and the questions are going so fast, this was a while back, but Cindy asked, can you have too many supplements? Can you take too many supplements?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes, you
Absolutely,
can.
yeah.
And I know I keep talking about my own situation, but that's what I'm an expert on. I'm an expert on my situation.
That's right.
Particularly if you do have MTHFR and you're taking methylated Bs, you can absolutely be over-methylated, and over-methylation can have symptoms that are as bad as under-methylation. So absolutely, you can over-supplement. And anyway, if you're taking supplements because you think you should, rather than because a naturopath or a functional medicine doctor has told you need them, you're simply wasting your money.
That's
and
right.
We would much rather you spend that money on panda massaged beef instead of regular beef from the store, or we'd rather you spend that money on really, really the best quality keto food you can buy, rather than supplements that you literally are wasting because you don't need them.
Right.
If you need them, absolutely take them. But if you don't, spend that money somewhere else.
Yep. And one of the most devastating things to a person, to a patient, is when they fire their old doctor, right? Because he's just wanting to put them on a statin and the beta blocker, and he's not wanting to talk about diet at all. And so they go to a naturopath, and not all naturopaths are this way. Or they go to a chiropractor, and not all chiropractors are this way. But some of them are like, oh yeah, I'm going to help you out. You need to buy all these supplements, and then we'll get you started. No, no, and no. You do not need those. And if anybody out there is watching who's a provider and you do that, please stop that. That's very disrespectful. You're taking advantage of people who are trusting your professionality by just bilking them out of their money for supplements that they probably don't need. They might need one or two, but nobody needs 25 supplements. There's just, if you're eating a good whole food ketogenic diet, you don't need 25 supplements.
And my experience with a naturopath, because that's what I like to do, but I had a brilliant naturopath in Seattle, which is why I'm now sitting here along with Dr. Ball and Dr. Ted Naiman, who was my keto MD, and then Dr. Ball was my naturopath. It was fascinating to me that when I first went to see her, yes, there were supplements, but that was based on all the test results I had that said, you have a massive deficiency here. And there was detox supplements because I was like toxic in this and that and the other. But and my point is that it changed. Every month I went to see her, she's like, all right, we're good on that one now. So we're going to take that one out. You don't need to keep taking that one. But we're going to do this piece. And so it changed over time. And I think a lot of people think that if they need a supplement, they need a supplement, and it's forever and a day. But that's not true. You need to find a naturopath or a doctor who understands what it is you actually need, and then takes you off it when you've corrected the imbalance, or when you no longer need it, or adjusts the dose accordingly. Because as Dr. Berry said, to just load you up on 25 supplements that you may or may not need and then just keep you on them forever, that's not helping. That's not helping you at all.
Exactly right. I totally agree. And I think that's terrible that this patient went from a doctor who wasn't listening to them to another doctor who also is not listening, but just trying to sell a bunch of products. And that's very unfortunate. Oh, Lisa's got Dr. Ted Naiman as her doctor. Very nice. You're in good hands with Ted Naiman.
Tell him hi.
Tell him we said hi, and he won't try to sell you anything. He'll just try to get you to do some chin-ups and push-ups. Yep, I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's see. Somebody said, how can I find a keto-friendly doctor? They said in Spokane. Is it Spokane or Spokane? I don't know.
Spokane.
I'm a country boy. I don't know. But I've got a video on the YouTube channel that actually tells about all the internet resources where you can put in your zip code and find a doctor within 50 or 100 or 150 miles of you who understands paleo or keto, or understands bioidentical hormones, or understands natural thyroid optimization. And any of those doctors are going to understand keto. They may say, oh, well, keto's okay, but they're not going to be like, no, I won't be your doctor if you do keto, if you put in your zip code on one of those websites that I have on my YouTube video. But that's a great way to find somebody at least near you to at least try. And that doesn't mean you're committed to them. You can fire them too.
And since we're talking about it, and since my pet topic is MTHFR, if you have MTHFR, or you know you have genetic wrinkles like MTHFR or COMT, if you go to if you type in Dr. Ben Lynch, I can't remember if it's benlynch.com or .org or .net or whatever it is, but Ben Lynch, Dr. Ben Lynch, if you pull that up, find his website. On there, he has a list of people who he has trained. And Ben Lynch is the master of methylation. So if you need help with the whole genetic thing, try and find, by going to Dr. Lynch's website, try and find someone who has trained under him, because they will understand MTHFR and methylation and COMT and genetics better than anyone else. And most of them are also on the naturopath / functional medicine side of the house, and will probably be a lot more open to keto or paleo than a lot of the regular MDs are right now.
Absolutely. Hey, Nisha, is my video, is it on the pinned post on the Facebook page that tells how to find a doctor near you? Is that one pinned? Nisha's going to pin that one she's going to add it to the pinned post, because like 10 people have asked, where's that video? She's going to add it. If you'll go to the pinned post at the top of this page, give her 10 minutes, but then it's going to be there so that you can find a doctor near you who will actually understand what keto is and why you're doing it, and not try to tell you that it's going to give you a heart attack.
And don't be afraid of having both. Don't be afraid. I mean, when I was working out my issues, I had Dr. Naiman, MD, who was my keto buddy. And then I had Dr. Ball, ND, naturopath over here, who was working on my food sensitivities and my methylation issues. And so you can have both. You don't have to find one doctor that specializes in everything. You can have more than one person on your team.
Exactly.
And right now, so here in Connecticut, I have my home toxicologist who's sorting out my Lyme. And then I have Dr. Kendra Becker, who trained under Ben Lynch. She's a naturopath, but she knows all about the methylation and the COMT and MTHFR and the genetics. So I have her over there. And then I've just found a new naturopath who's going to be essentially my primary care provider. They all specialize in different things. So don't be afraid of having more than one person on your team.
Absolutely. I love that advice. That's great advice. You can have more. And then also, as you go through this journey, you may outgrow a doctor, or you may, and so that's fine too. And so like Carrie's went through several doctors, and I'm not talking about doctor hopping or shopping, just jumping every visit, but I'm just saying after a few months or a few years of one doctor, you may have gleaned everything you can from that doctor, and you may have to branch out and either add another doctor or change doctors. And that's no sin and no crime. You got to do what's best for your health. Okay. Also, I see a lot of new questions. You can tell people are newcomers. You guys who are watching the comments, if you see a newcomer's question that's obviously they're just starting this, reach out to them and be gentle and be kind and be loving and answer their question and help them along, okay? Because Carrie and I can't answer every question. I saw one about MCT oil. I saw one about supplements. I saw a lot of beginner questions. So you guys feel free to reach out and answer other people's questions if you have lived the answer.
The lady who just asked for which test from 23andMe, you only need the Ancestry one, which is the cheaper one of the two. You do not need the Ancestry Plus Health. The Plus Health gives you a bunch of reports, but the DNA, the actual genome file that you need, you get with the Ancestry, and you don't need the health reports that come with the genome. And I will actually recommend that once you have your genome, there's a couple of different websites that you will run those reports through to get the methylation and the other reports that you need that are actually better than the health reports that come with the 23andMe Ancestry Plus Health. So 23andMe, just get the cheaper version. That will give you what you need.
Yep. All you need is the cheapest version, and then you can plug that into numerous different websites, and they'll analyze the DNA and tell you what you've got and what you probably need. And a lot of those websites do it for free, don't they, Carrie?
Yes. So Promethease is one, and geneticgenie.org is another. They are free. And so typically what people do is they will get those reports and then they will take them to their doctor or the ND and get them some help. The actual genome you get from 23andMe is complete gobbledygook to anybody but an epigeneticist.
Right.
So run them through those two tools, get your reports, and then you'll have something far more useful that you can start to dig into your DNA. And as I said, the DNA, for me, the journey started, everything started to fall into place after I did the DNA. And that's when I started realizing that I was a special snowflake, because however wonderful keto is, and it is, but keto alone would never have fixed my methylation issue.
Right.
Because my methylation issue requires that I take pre-methylated B vitamins. Keto can't do that for me. So that was the point at which I realized that I could keto as brilliantly and as long as I liked, but I was still going to have some underlying issues because I had this methylation thing going on.
Right.
But I could have got frustrated. I could have said, hey, my macros are on point, but it's not happening for me, or I'm doing what this person told me, but it's not happening, or it's not working, or I'm so frustrated, or keto doesn't work, or keto's not for me. It would never have worked wholly until I figured out my methylation issue.
Yep,
so
exactly
that's the whole point of us doing this little live here, is to help you understand that we're all special snowflakes. And while you should absolutely find a basic keto framework to get started, once you become fat adapted and you're kind of getting the hang of it, and you've got your head around what foods are good for you in the keto space and what aren't, then you need to start working out what you as an individual need. You need to work out, does xylitol spike me or doesn't it? Because it doesn't matter what it does to anyone else. It only matters what it does to you. Does erythritol spike me or does it not? Does does too much protein give me a problem? Does too little protein give me a problem? All of these things are things that you have to work out for you. Should you eat veggies? Should you not eat veggies? That's something that you need to find out once you've got started. So start with the framework, a basic framework. And then once you kind of got your head around that, then start to tweak.
Right.
Can you do dairy or can you not do dairy? Can you do nuts? Can you not do nuts? And also, things change. As your body starts to heal, you will have to keep tweaking, because what got you to where you are is probably not what's going to get you to the next step. Would you agree, Dr. Berry?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, and now, like, for some people, I think for probably, maybe not most people, but for a large chunk of people, just doing basic keto is going to move them tremendously towards their goals, whether that's weight loss, decrease inflammation, or whatever. But then there's a certain percentage who have MTHFR, and until they find that out and deal with that, they're not going to feel their best on just keto alone. Now, they're going to feel like literal crap if they're eating the standard American diet, or if they're eating the American Diabetic Association diet or the American Heart Association diet. But until you find out if you have some sort of genetic difference, and I'm not even so sure it's a defect. I don't know if it's a defect or if it's just a difference in genetics, right? But it acts as a defect, especially for Carrie Brown. It acted as a defect until she figured out how to work around it with the methylated B vitamins. You need to experiment with all these things, and that's the beautiful thing about keto, is you can do these little 1 month experiments. Stop all dairy for a month. No, you don't feel any different? Okay, dairy probably doesn't affect you then. Stop all nuts for a month. Do you feel better? Did you lose? Did you gain? Then there you go. There's your answer about nuts. And I think that no other diet gives you this ability to literally put your hands on your health and take charge of your own health and move it forward. Now, some people's health moves forward very quickly on keto. Some people's moves glacially slow. That's not a failure. That's just you're a special snowflake. Some people are going to do that, and that's fine. You're still going to get there. The only way you won't get there is if you give up and go back to the old way.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's absolutely right. Another example, and of course this is personal experience because that's what I'm best at, is myself, is Lyme. I have Lyme disease right now, right? Keto on its own will not kill the Lyme.
Right.
Because Lyme's a bacteria. Keto won't kill it. Keto will absolutely help with the symptoms, because if you're not feeding your Lyme spirochetes sugar or starch, then it's just going to sit there going, ugh. If you're feeding it sugar and starch, it's going to be going, woohoo! So keto will almost certainly help you with your Lyme symptoms, but don't be confused about the fact that you think you've killed the Lyme, because you won't have. You may have put it in remission, but you won't have killed it. So keto alone won't cure your Lyme.
Exactly.
But keto will help the symptoms, and it absolutely will help you once you get on the Lyme killers. Then absolutely it will help you manage the symptoms in the process. And it will, because everything will be healthier, all your organs will be healthier on keto, everything. Yep. So you'll be better supported. But that's just two examples of how, if there's an underlying issue, because you are a special snowflake, you need to take care of that as well. And if just keto isn't working, it's not because you're failing.
Right, exactly. I've seen about 10 questions. What is MTHFR? Do you want to give them a quick primer on what MTHFR is?
So MTHFR is and this sounds terrible, but it really, well, I guess it is really. MTHFR is it's the nickname, or it's the short, I don't know what the big long word stands for, but it's a genetic mutation. So I have, so there's two MTHFR genes. I am what they call heterozygous on one. So on one of my MTHFR genes, one of my parents had the same mutation. That's what that means. And because I have a mutation on one of those genes, it means I have a reduced ability to methylate. And methylation there's, I don't know how many, maybe Dr. Berry knows more than me, but there's lots of processes in our body that involve methylation. And I'm not very good at methylating because of this little error on my gene.
Right, exactly. And some people have one mutation, some have two. And we're not sure if the mutation, it may actually be protective against other things that we just don't know about. Kind of like sickle cell trait, right? People who have sickle cell just see it as a disease, but it was actually the body's attempt to make us immune to malaria. And so, because that's where it kind of developed, is in areas where malaria is indigenous. And so you don't die of malaria. You don't get as sick with malaria. You have a better resistance to malaria if you have sickle cell trait. So it was really our body trying to deal with that and genetically experimenting and seeing if that would fix the problem. But then it wound up causing another problem. And I suspect that we'll find, Carrie, in the long run, that MTHFR is the same exact thing. It was our body trying to cope with something. Yep. But in the process, it caused another problem, and that's kind of the problem with it, with our body evolving and changing and trying new things. Is sometimes the new things don't work so well, and you wind up with it helps one thing, but then it hurts another thing. And so, if you have the MTHFR mutation, then you can't methylate. And so if you're taking B vitamins, your body's you're essentially pooping them out. You're not using them because you can't use them because they're not already methylated for you. But at most health food stores, you can buy a methylated B12 or even a methylated B complex. And then if you do have the MTHFR mutation, you will assimilate those and use them. And how much better did you feel when you discovered that and started taking the methylated B vitamins?
Oh, so anyone that doesn't know my story, I was on methylated B vitamins for 6 weeks, and I was able to come off all of my bipolar medications. That was 3 years ago. I've been completely unmedicated and completely symptom-free for 3 years. So the difference that the methylated B vitamins make to me is absolutely enormous. Absolutely enormous.
It's a huge deal.
Vicky asked, am I saying that you can never get rid of Lyme no matter what? No, I'm not saying that at all. You absolutely can get rid of Lyme, but keto alone won't get rid of Lyme. Keto will help with the symptoms because you're not feeding it, but you need something to actually destroy the Lyme cysts and get it out of your system. So you absolutely can get rid of Lyme. I'm hopefully 2/3 of the way through that process to actually clear my body of all the Lyme cysts by killing them. And I'm not using antibiotics, by the way. Antibiotics, I've read a lot about Lyme in the last couple of months, and antibiotics long term typically do not work. But yes, you can absolutely kill the Lyme, but you need something other than just keto.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Did you see any more good questions we can take? Oh, go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead.
No, one thing that I wrote a note one thing that I forgot to mention is that a lot, and I know you hear this a lot, Dr. Berry, and you see it all the time, is that, you know, my husband and I started keto. My husband lost 50 pounds and I lost 2, and I'm so frustrated. And, you know, us women, we are super special snowflakes because what works for men very, very, very often does not work for women. And I'm hoping Dr. Berry can fill us in on some of the whys for that. But it can be hugely frustrating for spouses, for female spouses who are doing the same things as their husbands and they're not getting the results. Can you tell us a bit about that, Dr. Berry?
Absolutely. So we have to always remember back that weight loss is a hormone issue. It's not a calorie restriction issue. It's not a cut down on portion size issue. That has really almost nothing to do with weight loss. Weight loss is a hormone issue. And what's more different between men and women than their hormones, right? And so the average man has a testosterone level that's anywhere from 10 to 20 times higher than his wife's. He has much more muscle mass, so he's able to assimilate any carbs he eats much faster than a woman, because it's just a fact that the average husband has a higher muscle mass percentage than his wife. That's how it is. Now, that's not 100% true, but that's true in almost every single case. And I'm thinking back, Carrie, I can't think of a single instance in my clinic when I saw a husband and wife pair where the wife lost more weight than the husband, at least initially. It just doesn't happen, and it's because of the hormones. And so many women in their 40s and 50s and 60s, their hormones have left them. And if your doctor's not aware of that and not willing to help you optimize your hormones, your weight loss is going to be substantially slower than your husband's, and substantially slower than it could be otherwise if you found a doctor who could help you naturally, bioidentically optimize your hormones. That helps women a lot of times greatly. Now, it's not mandatory. It's not necessary. Some women lose weight just fine without hormones, but some women need them. But you never, ever want to take a fake hormone pill by mouth like Permin or Primpro or Estratest or estradiol. All of those are fake hormones. They're not going to help you in any appreciable way, and they're going to increase your risk of cancer. But there are other ways to get your hormones optimized. Keto helps optimize hormones, at least to a certain degree. But some women may need more help. Some women may not. But it's all about the hormones. It's the difference in the hormones between the husband and the wife.
So I think for me, my big thing that I wanted you to take away from this tonight was you are a special snowflake. And I mean that in the most positive, uplifting, caring way. You are a special snowflake. And we want you to embrace the fact that you're a special snowflake so that you stop feeling failed or getting frustrated when what other people are doing is not giving you the results that you need. And I don't want anybody to be restricting their diet needlessly because so-and-so said, you know, you can't have dairy. So you stop dairy. But if you're fine with dairy, we don't want you to make keto any more restrictive for you than it needs to be for you.
Right.
So, I mean, one, because it makes it harder to stick to if you're already feeling restricted. And two, because, you know, you do get a bigger range of nutrients if you're eating a bigger variety of food, and it keeps it interesting as well. So our message is You are a special snowflake. Embrace that and look at your keto, the way you keto, look at it under the spotlight of the fact that you are a special snowflake and that
Yes.
you need what is best for you, not what may or may not work for somebody else, including your spouse or your kids or anybody else.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Carrie, as we wrap up, I've seen a couple of newcomer questions I want to answer really quickly. If you've had, oh, okay, I will. Okay, if you've had bariatric surgery, you can absolutely do keto. If you have no gallbladder, you can absolutely keto. If you have type 1 diabetes, you can absolutely do a ketogenic diet. You have to do it very closely with a knowledgeable doctor, but you can absolutely do it. If you've got type 2 diabetes, you absolutely must do keto to reverse your type 2 diabetes. If you have fatty liver, you absolutely must do keto to reverse your fatty liver. And then I saw one more question about should I take a daily aspirin? And so more and more research is coming out showing that probably a daily aspirin, even a baby aspirin, the risks of that outweigh the benefits. And so I'm telling most of my patients, take it 2 or 3 times a week, take it every other day, take it once a week, but you probably don't need a daily aspirin. It's probably the risk outweighs the benefit. Yeah. Okay, Carrie. Sorry, I wanted to get all those in for the newcomer questions.
All good, all good. As long as we're helping, I don't even care what we're talking about, as long as we're helping people. You just reminded me, over-the-counter painkillers, particularly for people with MTHFR.
Yes.
If you can avoid taking them, do, because one of the things they do is they knock out your glutathione levels, just wipe them out. And people with MTHFR, we already struggle with a lack of glutathione. We need more. And so if you knock it out with over-the-counter, migraine, Excedrin migraine or whatever, over-the-counter painkillers, you're really putting yourself at a disadvantage.
Yes, absolutely right. I totally agree. Hey, Nisha, which page? Okay, guys, I got an announcement. Carrie and I are about to wrap up at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Nisha is going to be live on her page with Kim Howerton. They're going to be talking about keto foods, drinks, and everything else. So you guys, if you haven't had enough keto this evening, at 8 p.m. Central Standard, Nisha and Kim Howerton will be live on Nisha's page, and you can keep on ketoing on this evening.
And if you don't know Kim, Kim's adorable.
Oh, she's wonderful.
Her.
She's such a resource. Awesome. I love her. Yes, absolutely.
And
Carrie Brown.
You will know that Nisha's adorable, but if you don't know Kim, Kim's adorable too.
She is wonderful. I love their chemistry together. Carrie, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I'm going to put a link to Carrie Brown's cookbooks in the show notes, and then I'm going to link to several other things we talked about. So if you guys want to check any of this stuff out, give me about 10 minutes and then check back. And you can also... Oh, okay. Nisha already put the video about how to find a doctor near you in the description, and I'm going to link some other stuff too, including Carrie Brown's cookbooks, which you absolutely must check out.
And I just want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you for being so interested in your own health that you're willing to take the time to invest into finding out how you can be the best version of you. So I really want to thank you for caring enough about yourself to come here and hang out with us and let us help you and get you educated so that you can be happier and healthier and reach your health goals. So thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. Don't ever give up, no matter how slow your progress. Some progress is better than going back to the old way. If you'll search for Nisha Loves It on Facebook, you'll find her page. I think it's the top link. Carrie Brown and I will be back in 2 weeks with another keto adventure to share with you and an update on Carrie Brown's medical conditions. All right, guys, we love you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.
All right, guys, that's it. Give me about 10 minutes, and I'm going to link everything in the show notes. And then if any of you guys see a newcomer question that you know you can answer from personal experience, please reach out to them. I don't think anybody would mind a direct message or a recommendation for a keto group or a keto video that they should watch. That's how we help newcomers become not newcomers anymore. Okay, this is Dr. Berry. I'll see you next time.